Progressive organizations are now throwing their support to Sanders. Perhaps they should have done this much sooner, dare I say it, but nonetheless, welcome to the fight. So what do I mean by this? Well, first, Workers' Family Party just initially announced that they're endorsing Senator Bernie Sanders. Interesting that they're doing it now. Also, the Progressive Change Campaign Committee, the PCCC, a group that allied with Warren, has called on voters to strategically vote for Bernie Sanders on Tuesday's Michigan primary race. Also, this group, and I'm surprised that they're late in the game, Justice Democrats announced that they're going to endorse Bernie Sanders as well. I mean, they wouldn't exist without Bernie in the first place. But hey, welcome to the fight nonetheless. And also, Jesse Jackson has also endorsed Senator Bernie Sanders and was campaigning with him in Michigan. So,
yes, I could make a quick comment on that.
Yeah.
So I think in a previous episode I mentioned that it was Al Sharpton that Bernie Sanders or something, and I really meant to say Jesse Jackson. So
okay.
That
makes infinitely more sense.
Thank you for bringing that to. Thank you for bringing it up, Daniel, because I think it's important to note. Look, I'm glad these organizations are in the fight. But this is the time right now, especially all these organizations with your amount of resources and volunteers and supporters, and Jesse Jackson himself and any other progressive allies that are joining in this fight. You need to make sure to help people get to their polling stations, give people correct information so that your guy that you just endorsed gets a nomination or wins. Because right now the rig is in. Paul already covered his story, how there's votes missing in Texas, a lot of votes missing in the state of California. And the thing is, there's still 106 delegates that are still up for grabs. And the thing is about Biden, he doesn't really have what it takes to build a coalition. Even Hillary Clinton said that Biden is building the same coalition she had. Did that coalition win? I don't think so, because remember, if there's a lack of election integrity, if the election fraud is being seen by a lot of people, Bernie Sanders supporters and independents are not going to rally around the neoliberal corporate sellout that is Joe Biden. And the thing is, to a lot of people saying, oh, well, Joe Biden's just as progressive. Joe Biden's just like Bernie Sanders. Joe Biden can get things done. He's never said a bad thing. Paul, would you please kindly play this video of Biden chastising and verbally reprimanding Jesse Jackson?
I think I have the right clip here. Let me make sure.
But so what are the differences?
Just as I and many other white leaders reject the voices of those who are calling for caution, you must reject the voices in this movement who tell black Americans to go it alone, who tell you that coalitions don't work anymore, that whites and Catholics and Jews no longer care about the problems of black America, that only blacks should represent blacks. Littleton, when I sat with Lafayette Jackson and Spencer Henry at the town movie theater to desegregate it, there were a lot of other white boys like me in high school sitting with them. And Ben, when you and Jesse Jackson and Martin Luther King and Aaron Henry and many others here marched from Selma to Montgomery, you did not march alone.
Hey, 6 people are clapping.
Okay, so let's just give a short reminder of who Joe Biden is and why the progressive groups that have just endorsed Bernie Sanders, why you have to keep on fighting for Bernie. Number one about Joe Biden. He was against busing. He was against desegregation. He worked with known segregationists. Joe Biden was against women's rights. Joe Biden has supported the ridiculous war on terror. Joe Biden voted for the war in Iraq. Joe Biden decided to support the credit card companies, thus also in turn hurting students who want to take out student loans. So that's why we have this ridiculous student debt crisis in the first place. Joe Biden decided to support major banks, Wall Street, and other corporations. Joe Biden is a corporate sellout. He has surrounded himself with super PACs. This person, Joe Biden, has a history of only looking out for himself and his own interests. That's what he represents. And the very fact that the media right now is just declaring that Biden's the winner, no, this cannot stand. And if you think that anyone's going to have an open position or that progressives have an open window in the Biden administration, that is not the case at all. Biden only cares for himself. And to the progressive groups such as Workers' Family Party, Progressive Change Campaign Committee, Jesse Jackson, Justice Democrats, and all the DSA and all these other numerous progressive groups, even though DSA endorsed Bernie Sanders way before any of these other groups did, you need to redouble and triple your efforts to make sure Bernie gets the nomination. You need to make sure that Bernie Sanders, we have to make sure that Bernie Sanders' votes are counted in and actually acknowledged, because there's a clear lack of election integrity, and if we don't have it here in the United States, if we don't have it here during this primary, be prepared for another 4 more years of Trump, because that's what's going to happen.
So it's really quick, just
go
to
ahead.
clarify. When you said that he was against the war on terror, did you mean the war on drugs?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
the
Sorry,
Biden-
Sorry,
yeah.
I screwed that up. Ah.
It's okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. I just want to make
We're
sure.
live, folks.
Just in case anyone's like, hey, yeah. No, go
No,
ahead, Paul.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's. I mean,
He-
there's a
what,
litany
what
of
I meant to
things-
say was he was for the war on terror and that he was for the war on drugs. I
Right.
screwed that up. Yeah.
I mean, Joe Biden has a litany of history that you can draw on and say, that's bad. Why are we supporting that? And the thing that bugs me is I continue to hear people who will say things like, well, I like Bernie Sanders and I like his policies, but he doesn't get anything done. It's like, no, but he does.
Biden doesn't.
Biden doesn't. Right. There's
Yeah.
there's a reason Bernie got the nickname the Amendment King, because he knows it's very difficult for him to introduce legislation that actively is going to be supported because he's an independent in the Senate. Right? But he knows how to get amendments on other legislation. People will point out like, oh, well, he voted against giving, Flint free, clean water. It's like, no. He supported an earlier bill that was all about getting Flint clean water. He opposed a budget spending bill that did include a rider that would have nominally helped that. That did pass. And you know what? Obviously, Flint has clean water now, right?
Right.
Yeah, and Joe
Nope, they
Biden's
don't.
actually campaigning in Michigan, too. Let's ask the people of Flint, Michigan, what they think about Obama and his administration. Obama jokes about drinking water from there, and I have to wonder, did Obama really drink that glass of water that was from Flint,
Are
Michigan?
you saying they busted in?
Oh, watch the video. He
Yeah.
did not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, look, it's touching my lips.
Did he
twice.
really? Did
Yeah.
he really drink that water? No. And the thing is,
Folks, I'm
Biden.
gonna drink this water.
No, it's more like this. Folks, I'm gonna drink this water. It's me, Obama. Enjoy it. It's Flint, Michigan. It's nutritious and delicious. Problem solved, folks.
High in
Go on
heavy
and vote.
metals.
Go on and vote. Again,
it's so
I-
frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Again.
I can't even express. Like it's just to anyone who's paying close attention, it's plain as day that Joe Biden doesn't stand for anything. Right? Joe Biden is antithetical to almost everything we say we care about. Bernie Sanders does stand for a lot of what we care about. Bernie Sanders does have policy ideas and plans and has been consistent on them for his entire political career, his entire life.
Yep. Yeah.
But I guess Bernie Bros or something.
Bernie Bros.
Yeah.
Bernie Bros. Are
By the way, I just want to really, because there's no other spot to put it out. Harvard just did a thing. You can look this up. You can find it's been running around in the memosphere. They did a thing where they said, okay, let's look at the Twitter followers of all the candidates. And you know what it turns out? The thing I've been saying about 10% of people being assholes is right. They were like consistently, it's like 2 or 3% people throw out negative comments. And it's almost as if the real difference is that Bernie has more people supporting him on Twitter. That's
Right.
the difference.